Good morning, guys, and welcome to Unique Not Different with me, Shamla. And I always have, anything talking medical or, related to, I guess, the human body. I always have somebody who actually, consistent in coming on and giving his professional knowledge in, this year. So today is World Water Day, and we are going to talk about the importance of pure water and what would happen if you consume impure water. So I have Dr. Nicolas Maraj today, who is a neurologist and also a medical doctor, to talk about the importance of pure water. So good morning, Dr. Nicolas, and how are you doing?
Hi, morning, Shamla. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. So let's get straight into it. So in terms of the body, right? I know water is very important for the body. Why is that?
So a large portion of the body is actually made up of water. About 60% of the body, the human body, is made up of water. Different percentages based on if you're a male, a female, an adult, or an elderly person. But generally about 60% of the body is made up of water. And different organs are made up of different amounts of water. So like the brain itself is about 75% water. The blood that we have is about 95% water. Even our lungs is made up of water to some extent, maybe about a bit in the 60-something% range. So water, very, very important for maintaining a constant kind of internal environment in our body all the time.
Right. In terms of earthly perspective or global perspective, right? I know a lot of people don't have access to pure water, but in terms of accessibility to pure water, how much, in terms of a global perspective, in percentage-wise, right? How much pure water do we have in terms of a global perspective?
All right, so the entire Earth is made up of about 71% of water. About that 71%, 98% of that water is salt water. And about 1% of it is usable water in the world. Of that 1% of usable water in the world, about 70-something% is locked in ice, and a very small percentage, less than 5%, is actually available for us from rivers, streams, springs. So the large amount of water in the world really isn't as available to us as we think it is. And even in the world, lots and lots of people have different access to water, depending on socioeconomical conditions, where they live, and those types of things. So I think in 2020, the UN said that about 75% of people in the world, that's about 5.8 billion people, have access to clean, drinkable, usable water, which means about 25% of the population of the whole world, a little bit over 2 billion people, has no good access to clean, drinkable, usable water.
Wow, okay. And so in terms of mentioning those statistics in terms of, just 1%, and of that 1%, 78%, I think you mentioned, is locked in ice, right? Yeah. So obviously people don't have access to, and sometimes even those who have access to pure water would sometimes have access to impure water. So what are the negatives of consuming impure water?
So most of the impure water that we think about being impure is either contaminated with pollutants such as chemicals. Mostly it'll be contaminated with things like feces or from either humans or animals. And consumption of water contaminated with feces is a significant health burden. It increases your risk of getting things like cholera, diarrhea, dysentery, and major gastrointestinal bugs that would lead to more dehydration by causing the person to have things like diarrhea or vomiting, and further exacerbate how much dehydration they can have, which is why about maybe, I think, close to 400,000 children every year die from diarrheal illnesses, which are very, very, very preventable.
Wow, okay. And in terms of pure water, right, what are the benefits to the body of consuming for pure water?
So pure water is very, very, very important. The normal person supposed to intake maybe about two, according to the NHS, maybe about 8 glasses of water a day, maybe about 2 liters. Because you lose a lot of water during the day. You lose
Yeah.
water from breathing, from sweating, from different types of processes that go on inside of the body. And you need to consume back that water to allow your body to maintain a normal environment, to have the concentration and the salts inside stable, to be able to get rid of all the products of waste, whether by urination and defecation.
Right. So, and what about okay? So obviously, let's link it back to disability, and you can even link it back in general to, I guess, person working in office, being sedentary,
Right.
As opposed to somebody active and moving, right? Should
Right.
the water intake be different as opposed to somebody being sedentary because there's only so much a kidney could manage, right? As opposed to somebody be active, moving, working in construction, being in the hot sun, as opposed to somebody sitting home or being in an office or school all day. What, should there be a difference in the water consumption?
There should definitely be a bit of a difference because people who live a sedentary lifestyle, not exposed to the elements as much, going and have a lot less of water loss from evaporation, from urination, as opposed to somebody who's outside in construction and heat, doing a lot of manual labor. So those people would need to have a higher consumption of water because they'd be losing a lot more water, putting them at risk for dehydration, kidney stones, those types of things, as opposed to the sedentary person who doesn't have that much risk. However, your kidneys actually work very well and are able to concentrate a lot of the water that you have inside your body and retain a lot of fluid, and it can get rid of a lot, which is why when you're dehydrated, your urine looks very, very, very dark, from yellow to a very dark color. And when you're properly well hydrated, it has this kind of clear color. So sedentary lifestyle people maybe about 2 liters of water plus a day. People who have this active lifestyle, somewhere between about 3.5 to 4 liters of water a day to try and prevent dehydration with themselves.
That sounds, the 3.5 to 4 liters of water sounding like more than me. Like it will pull me up and go above me. So last question, right? In terms of like, what advice would you give to persons? Because everybody body functions differently, individual, as opposed to just grouping them, aggregating people into groups, right? What advice would you give to persons who have, I guess, don't have access to pure water? What are some things that they could do home to, I guess, make impure water pure?
So major things would be proper filtering system. So for example, using like the water purifiers, the water filters. The old school thing that we used to do back in the day, boil water, and to make sure that we get rid of the impurities and boil off what potential microorganisms that could be causing infectious problems such as diarrhea or vomiting. Those would be some of the major things that I definitely tell people who don't have clean access to water to be able to do, or at least and definitely advocate with their local government people to allow for more steady access of water.
I said that is my last question, but I have one more just pop up. Right?
Sure.
I tend to say that the bottled water, the processed water, right, tend to be bad for you, right? What would you say about bottled water? People purchasing water to consume.
Well, I'd speak for myself here specifically. I have been drinking tap water from Wasa as long as I've been living, and nothing has been going wrong with me so far. The problem with bottled or any sort of plastic bottle is plastic consumption and the environmental damage that's associated with that. So I'm a stickler. I try not to use bottled water in any way.
Awesome. Dr. Nicolas, honestly, thank you so much. Thank you. I know you had a hectic morning, but you did your best to come on. You had an emergency. Being a doctor is obvious, things happen dynamically for you. So thank you so much for coming and sharing your expertise in terms of water on this World Water Day. And as always, I'm very grateful to have you in my presence. And yeah, thanks again. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so very much, Shamla. And in the immortal words of Iowa George, the people want water.
Very good. Guys, and as I always say, thanks for tuning in to this week's segment of Unique and Different. Until next week, be good, do good. Bye, guys. Bye.